Hey there guys, welcome to the meat shop. Thanks for clicking on. This video is part of a special video series inspired by you guys. I've been asked before for a recipe or sausage book, which I don't have, so I thought I would share my favorite book with you, which is Home Production of Quality Meats and Sausage by Stanley and Adam Marinski. It is my favorite book. I think it's got great information in there for beginners and experts alike. And to celebrate my favorite book, I reached out to Stanley Marinski and he gave me permission to do Marinski March. So we're going to do a recipe out of this book every day of March. And all the recipes and all the processes are right out of the book, which will be in the link below. That is, a link to the book will be in the description down below. So without any further ado, let's get into Marinski March. Alright guys, welcome to another episode of Marinski March. Today we're making a large diameter multi-textured sausage straight from Poland called the Krakowska sausage. Kielbasa Krakowska Kradziana is, I think I got it, hopefully I got that right. But right off page 261 out of Home Production of Quality Meats and Sausage by Adam and Stanley Marinski. This sausage has always been one of the top sellers in Poland. The name relates to the city of Krakow. Hopefully I got that right. One of the oldest cities in Europe. The middle part of the name Kradziana implies that the meat was manually cut into pieces. It goes by many similar names, for example, the Krakower sausage. So this one here, it's a two-textured sausage. We got some lean pork on this side, some kind of fatty picnic trimmings on the other side. We're going to cut those big ones into 2-inch cubes, and that small stuff into we're going to emulsify basically, and it's going to bind those big pieces together. So step one, we're going to cut the big lean pieces into 2-inch cubes, salt them and cure them for 2 nights. I'm going to probably vac pack them and just do 1 day because the vac pack will speed that up. Then we're going to grind those little bit of pork trimmings up and salt them as well overnight. Then we're bring them back out tomorrow, mix them all together with the seasonings and whatnot. So I'm going to cut those cubes up, then grind that little bit of trim up and season them up. Okay, so we got these here. They're pretty well almost cut down to the size we need already anyways, because it was just some trim stuff from pork I'd used, but we'll just chop them down a little bit more. Get this little bit of picnic trim out of here. Cut this down a little bit more. In smaller pieces. Not quite like the finger sausage, but it's going to be very, very dense texture, this one as well. But there's no beef in this one, so I'm not as concerned about running into chewy pieces and whatnot. Pork is usually pretty tender. Alright, so there's the last couple pieces, guys. Take our cure mix. Use just about all of it on here, but it does say add 2 teaspoons of salt and 2 grams of cure mix, but I've got all the cure and salt all mixed into one thing here. So I'm just going to kind of eyeball it and use the majority of that on this here, since it's the majority, and just save just a little bit back, half a teaspoon for the pork we're about to grind. Just going to mix this though, get that salt cure distributed everywhere over this. Then if you don't have a vac pack machine, you can just cover for 2 nights, but I'm going to vac pack it, pop it in the fridge for 1 night. Alright, there's our lean pork, vac packed up, pop it in there. Take our little bit of pork trimmings that we're going to add to this sausage, grind them through a 3mm plate, give them the same salt and curing step, and overnight rest. Then with these guys, once they come out, we're going to re-grind them into an emulsification basically. Let it grind out for a second here. Make sure we get it all. Looks to be about it. Alright. The last little shot of salt here, guys. Onto these. Mix it around a little bit there. And I'm going to pop it into my vac pack bag. And we'll see it tomorrow. Okay, so I just went and grabbed our Krakowska and you can see the color of the pork has changed quite a bit. It's gone from that, you know, light pinky color to kind of that gray and dark red. So that pork is cured overnight, and it's going to be quite a bit more dense than it was yesterday. Then we also have our little bit of emulsified fat, and you can see the color, fat and pork trimmings, the color's changed a bit on that. It kind of looks like it's a little bit off, but that's the right color. So the next step is I'm going to run it through the fine plate here. I've been using the grinder a little bit today, making some bacon sausage and bologna. So I'm going to run it through that fine plate again. One last little grind on this fine stuff to get a real fine emulsified texture. Not much there, shouldn't take very long. It's nice and firm because I stuck it in the freezer there. Oh, it looks like we're going to get a little bit of ground beef in there too. We'll just remix that in. Here comes our first shots of the picnic fatty trimmings. Okay. There we go. Nice smooth final texture. That last little bit come out of the grinder. All right, so I'm gonna set that aside. That's gonna bind the mixture together. But now the book says to mix our pork cubes till they're good and sticky. Get them on the side here. Yeah, they're quite a bit more dense, quite a bit firmer. They got that cured look to them now, quite a bit denser than before. So I'm just gonna mix them till they are sticky. But they already have kind of a bit of protein extraction from sitting in that vacuum package bag and touching one another there for 24 hours. Okay, they're starting to get a little bit sticky there, guys. Massage them a bit more. Kind of starting to stick together a little bit, which is what we're shooting for, I think. So now they're starting to stick together a little bit. I'm gonna take our spices that I've pre-mixed out here. Add them. The last little bit of ingredients. That smells lovely. Okay, get that distributed into those. I'm going to take my fat mixture. Okay, and we're going to use that to glue all this together. Mix that fat in at the very end. Kind of break it up, make sure it's got coats all our cubes. Split it up. It's pretty sticky as it is by itself. Sitting in the cooler overnight. As distributed as possible in this here. It's not a whole lot of fat to blend between all the pieces of meat, but I think it'll do the trick. So I'm going to get it thrown in the stuffer. Then we're going to stuff it, throw it in the smokehouse. We got a 75mm fibrous casing, which I soaked in water just before we got started. They don't got to soak overnight by any means. These guys, you just got to get them wet so they slide on the horn more easily. And they do expand just a little bit better. So I'm curious to see how this one stuffs. It's mostly cubes of pork, so grab really tight. That looks really neat. And squeeze tight. Try and get all that so in there as tight as possible. Then I'm just going to push the last little bit out of the stuffing horn there on this big guy to try and get as much out of our batch as possible. Sometimes with little natural, so basically I just take a stuffing horn, throw a piece of plastic over it, push it through. I don't really do this with the natural casing so much. I usually just save them and eat them, or just add them to the next batch. There we go. Push that through. That takes care of the sausage in the large horn. It's a little bit trickier to do with the smaller horns too. I take the remaining bit of the Krakowska out of the bottom of the stuffer, feed it in there. I don't want to waste a big handful of meat. All right, so it's in there, and we gotta choke it down. Try and work those air pockets out, massage them up, and then choke it down. Get it good and tight. I got a feeling there's gonna be air pockets in this one, kind of no matter what. Take the sharp end of the knife and poke it if you see any big ones. Looks pretty good though. All right, then I'll grab a piece of string, push it down a little harder, a little more, and then we will tie it. Grab them, put that down there, twist them tight, good and tight, and then tie them up there to lock that in. There we go. It's really, really cool textured looking already before we even smoke it. Cut our tail off here. You don't have to cut the tails off, but have a look at the texture on that guy already. Pretty neat, eh? Get that in the smokehouse. Looking forward to seeing what the end texture looks like. All right, so I got it timed here that the Krakowska can join a couple friends in there, the bacon sausage and the bologna. But today, they're all gonna get the same steps. These guys have been hanging for a little bit already, but this guy's gonna hang in here for an hour or two till it's dry. Then we're gonna give it a heavy smoke and increase the temperature till it's cooked to a 158 Fahrenheit. So that's 70 degrees Celsius on the inside. And take them out, give them a cold water bath and cool them. So it's gonna be dry for an hour, smoke for 2 hours, bake to an internal temperature of 158. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the beef bologna, bacon sausage, and Krakowska just went off here. So I'm gonna have a look, our first look at them here, see how they're doing. Ooh, look at those colors. Those look nice. Yeah, look at that. Nice mahogany color. Krakowska's got some really cool mahogany pork chunks in there. So I'm just gonna take these guys out of the smokehouse, pop them in the cold water bath, give them a rinse for a little while, and then hang them in the cooler to cool down overnight. Here they come. We'll just start rinsing them for a couple minutes here, guys. All right, they got a bit of a rinse there, a couple minutes worth anyways. Now I'm just gonna take them, hang them to dry in the cooler, walk-in cooler overnight. All right, ladies and gentlemen, coming to the end of another video for you. Another large diameter, heavy hitting sausage, the Krakowska. Hopefully I got that right. Color looks good. It's a little wrinkly, but there we go, guys, the Krakowska. You can see the different textures in there. Yeah, when you got big textures like this, it might wrinkle up a bit on you, especially with that, it was almost a pure fat emulsion in between the large chunks, but I'm pretty happy with the color we got on that guy. Looks pretty good. Let's see how it tastes. I got a feeling this one's gonna be visually very cool. Nip the ends off here. Oh yeah, this one's gonna be cool for sure. Cut it into half, why not? Ooh, it's very dense. Wow, that looks good. How about that? Is that not cool looking? That fine kind of emulsion texture stuff filled the gaps between. You got those nice big coarse pieces, kind of look like a deli ham, pressed ham sort of thing. A little bit of air pockets and stuff, but you can see the pepper and stuff popping out, and that looks so good. I really, really like the visual on that one. That would look good in a display shelf for this guy. Let's see how it tastes though. All right, try and skin her here. Take that fibrous casing off. Whoops. Little trickier to peel off the casing than other ones I've stuffed in the fibrous casing. Some of the couple ham chunks broke off there, but that's okay. I was trying my best, so slice into it. Have a bite of a Krakowska. The fine emulsion and a bit of connective tissue and stuff kind of makes like a little bit of jelly in between. Wow. This one is very good. Very freaking good. It's like a really, really mild ham with just a bit of spices with it. And there's like that creamy fat in between the big chunks. No chewy bits in there. The trim was nice. That is very good. I really like that one. Wow. Good enough for a second bite. That creaminess in between, that fat emulsion, that's very yummy. I really like that. And I kind of made a little bit of a jelly on the outside. Meat jelly is good, kind of like our head cheese. The Krakowska gets a big thumbs up from this guy. This is one I would recommend giving a go for sure. Nice, if you like ham, holiday ham flavor, This one's awesome. Comes recommended. If you guys like the video, give it a thumbs up and recommend it to some other people. And we're going to do an episode like this every day in March. We're going to be winding down to the end of March by the time this one comes out. But if you guys like it, give it a thumbs up. I appreciate it. Thanks for watching. You guys have an awesome one. Take care.